This episode is brought to you by Audi. The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. Featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi tech. It's not just a new EV. It's a new way to experience driving. The all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron is here. The next chapter of Audi starts now.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
You're listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, episode 215, ranking the Disney heroes and hunks. With Banter, I hardly know her. Welcome to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, the #1 place to get your animation fix with animation addicts just like you. Each episode, we dive into the wonderful world of animation featuring Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, and everything in between. From hilarious discussions and movie reviews to interviews with industry insiders, this show's mission is to brighten your day through our love of animation. So hop on your nerdy couch, grab some snacks, and get ready to hang out with your animation besties because it's time to dive into today's episode. Hey there, animation addicts. My name is Chelsea Robson, and I am joined here with Morgan Stradling and two very special guests from the podcast Banter. I hardly know her. We have Perry and Wes. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
So a couple weeks ago, Morgan and I had the opportunity of joining them on their podcast as we ranked the Disney princesses. And we thought it only appropriate to have them come onto our show and to rank all the Disney princes, hunks, and heroes. So I'm very excited about this one. This is kind of one of those really fun episodes that I don't think they get a lot. The Disney hunks and heroes don't get enough praise for who they are in the Disney pantheon of experience.
Well, they certainly don't even have their own franchise as the princesses do. So There's that.
Exactly. So, here we are.
They're just arm candy, let's be real. And one thing that we did when we were on their podcast, we had a really fun way to rank them and to categorize them. We used this spreadsheet where basically we took every single one of the princesses, and there were 3 different categories that we were to rank them on. And so we are likewise going to use that as the basis for our discussion today. So the 3 categories that we have are hunkiness, and I'll talk about that one in a second. Hero-ness, which, yes, that is a word. I looked it up. Basically, something that embodied, are you a hero? I thought that was important for the gentleman. And then role model. Now, with hunkiness, when we did the princesses, we didn't necessarily have a category that was commenting on their physical appearance. But I was like, we are definitely going to do that over here for the men. And hunkiness is, yeah, you can have your own category for what that means. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
I will say, yeah, it was definitely a new experience for me to think of characters based on hunkiness. So
no, I've had a crush on Flynn Rider long enough. It was not hard.
Perfect.
That's amazing. And then we also do have other gentlemen on our list. They're more honorable mentions, or maybe they just weren't the first ones that you think of. So we're going to be talking about everyone, and we're going to, go through this and determine who is the ultimate Disney prince. And of course, princes in quotes. It's a relative term. Basically, if you're a hero, if you're a hunk, if you're a guy in the Disney canon, we're just going to call you a prince. Okay, done.
Finito.
Deal.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Fred Warner, linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. Abercrombie has the new suits you need, plus all the collared shirts to go with them. The Abercrombie & Fitch Collins suit is the only suit you'll ever need for any occasion. Available in slim, classic, and athletic. Pair with a collared classic. Go with a soft, easy-to-wear sweater polo or a comfortable long-sleeve shirt. With so many different fits and fabrics, you can make a look that's completely your own. Add the Abercrombie & Fitch Collins suit and new collared shirts to every occasion this season. Shop online or in store.
Business taxes. We're stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
All right, so how do we want to lead this off? Do we want to just go basically chronological order in the Disney canon and talk about each one of the princes, and then we can see where they land? Does that sound good?
Works for me.
Sure.
All right. So first we're going to start off with Prince Florian, which you may not even know who that is. He is the prince from Snow White. And on those 3 categories, I'm pretty sure, I'm just going to spoil it right now, he is the lowest for all of our ranking. For hunkiness, we got 30, 40, 30. What's the other one over here? Sorry, I don't have everything. Perry gave him a 71, so that's an outlier. So Perry, why did you think he was so hunky?
Oh, so hunky. No, I kind of just grouped all of the very stereotypical, like, blah, like hunks that were just made to be hunky princes. I pretty much grouped them all around 70. You can see that with Charming, Philip, John Smith. A lot of those guys. I just kind of put around the same number because they're meant to be hunky. Like, that's their purpose. And maybe that for you guys is like them failing to hit the mark, I guess. But yeah, I guess he's stereotypical hunkiness. That's why I gave him kind of just a standard number.
Okay.
But why'd you guys have him so low?
I gave him a 30. Chelsea gave him a 40. Wes gave him a 30. I feel like he was just sort of kind of bland. Like, he's perfect. He has this great porcelain skin, up. But yeah, well, no, that's not his hunkiness. That's
true.
Probably hero-ness.
Yeah, but he
just really didn't have a lot, he had a nice looking face. I can't say he has a Quasimodo face, but it was just not hunky. I don't know what to explain it. He's cute, not hot.
I think the only thing that he really had going for him was he had a white horse, and I guess he was a good kisser. So in that, I guess, that means something at this point.
I mean, he had the easiest job. Maybe that's hero-ness, so I guess we can wait. But
let's talk about it. Let's go into that next part.
It's the name for me.
Florian?
It's a horrible name. No.
Didn't they give the name Florian?
That's why he got a 30, because it's awful.
They gave him the name like 30 years later, I'm pretty sure. Like, fans gave him that name. Because he didn't have a name.
They did him wrong, then.
Same with Adam. Prince Adam.
Oh, Adam. And then lastly, for role model, we all had him pretty low, except for Perry. Perry, for the most part, is pretty high on him comparatively. We had him at a 45. All of us are like 0, 10, 20.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. So for when it comes to hero-ness and role model, hero-ness I have him at 5 because he doesn't do anything. Like, he has the easiest path to princess, like, to becoming, even in the, like, talking about hero in the history of, like, movies. His job is to kiss the sleeping girl, which is kind of funny because it's not even Sleeping Beauty, but his job is to kiss the Sleeping Beauty. And he's only in 2 scenes, right? But in terms of role model, I kind of thought of it as, like, given the position in which he found himself, was there something that he should have done differently? And I couldn't really think. I mean, it's like he did nothing really, and nothing to be a role model, nothing to be like, okay, you're trash. But like, yeah, given the opportunity he was given in the movie, it's like, he was fine.
Had a horse and he was a good kisser. There you go.
Well, yeah, he gets there at the beginning. He sings the ballad to her. He realizes that she's in this castle, but she's dressed in rags. But he doesn't really go any further than that. He doesn't try to ask her name. He doesn't realize that, hey, maybe he could rescue her right now instead of having to go through this big rigmarole. She could say, hey, I'm actually the princess. And so, yeah, he just leaves, and then he's just wandering the forest, as a lot of these princes often do, and shows up, saves the day at the end. So, yeah, definitely not very heroic. And as far as role model, it's like he could have taken a little bit more of initiative.
Valid point. So. I mean, he's 1937, so granted, like, just naturally, he's not going to fit the 2021 model.
Of course. True. All right, so let's go to the next one, because I think that's all we got for Prince Florian. But Prince Charming, this is someone who, and we are talking strictly Disney animated canon. So yes, there are other versions of Prince Charming, but this is the Prince Charming from Cinderella. And compared to Snow White's prince, he has a lot more that he does in his film, his story arc. So I think he most likely will be a bit higher, just a little bit. So what do you guys think? For hunkiness, how would you rate this guy? He's, he's kind of like Florian, basically. There's a lot of these white guys with dark black hair.
I mean, here's the thing. I thought he was very hunky. I gave him, out of 185. He looks great in a suit. He looks... The man knows how to dress. And then also he is like... He's very determined. He knows what he wants, and he goes after it. So, you got that initiative in there. And he's just, don't hate me because I'm drawn that way. That he's a good looking dude. So I gave him 85.
I gave it an 80. He's definitely a looker, and not gonna lie, that wallet adds at least 10 points. I'm just saying.
I mean, you do have to deal with the in-law of his the king, which is, you can get over that. He's not. I mean, he really just wants him to get married, and so it's like after that, I'm sure that he wouldn't be nearly as like intrusive into his son's life. And I mean, anything's better than what she's got. So
for a lot of these, I was wondering, like, are we only counting the like original source material, or like, because Cinderella has a lot that follows, like 2 animated movies and then live action, which I didn't know where to go with that, because if we were going live action, like, I probably would have gone up on the hunkiness. But
live action he's a really hunky on that one too.
Richard Madden. But like with this like original, I'm just gonna give it like that standard number, like I said, 70.
He hit the bar. Okay.
Yep.
On par with what he's supposed to be. Good job. Okay. Now, as far as everything else, though, I'm going to have to say hero-ness, I gave him 10, and, like, role model, 5. Like, that was it was kind of sad, like, how that's really all he had. Hero-ness, he didn't do anything. He loses track of her and ends up basically just having a shoe, but even then he doesn't go after her himself. He sends somebody else to do it, which, how good is that going to be? And role model, it's like, you don't know enough about him to give him anything.
Wow. You and Wes both have him like really low on those categories.
Well, I mean, he's not that exciting, Perry.
It's true.
But like 5. What was so bad?
It's not that he did something bad, it's he didn't do anything. Yep. It's the lack of...
Well, another thing, he just sends his servants, which is obviously what a prince should be doing. You know, I hope that they have so much people and armies at their disposal that they can delegate. Unlike Prince Derek in The Swan Princess 2, who just decides he needs to do everything on his own. We just reviewed this movie, why it's top of mind. But, you know, he's doing what princes should do. That's like a great role model. But at the same time, is it like a romantic role model? I would like to have seen him have a little bit more of, yes, everyone else go, let's go door to door, find her, and I'm going to go too. Like, we don't know anything about what he was necessarily doing during that time. So that's kind of like yeah, you could be better.
I only gave him a little extra points because he's given quite a bit more of a personality in the sequels and in the live action, so I was like, I guess I'll count that. He has no personality in the original, though.
In case you guys are wondering, you're like, what is this that they are talking about? We ranked everyone on a scale of 1 to 100. I probably should have mentioned that at the very beginning for each one of these categories, and then we summed them up. And so he, overall, with all of our totals, is a 40.83. Now, we're not going to reveal our final ranking until the very end, but just to compare, Prince Florian was 24.25. So 15 points higher, but I think there's going to be a lot more here. And that leads us into our next prince, which is Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty. Prince Philip is the first prince where not only does he get hundreds in some of the categories, but multiple people put him hundreds all around. Specifically, Chelsea and I.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with the Prince Philip, but please explain.
Let's hear what you guys have to say, and then we will explain why we
admire
him so.
Wes?
I gave him pretty good numbers.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't give him too much hate.
Neither did I, but I definitely felt some peer pressure into like giving him good numbers after I saw what you guys were putting.
He does some work. You know, he does a lot more work than a lot of the other princes. His princess is only on screen for like, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
18
it's really
lines.
his story.
Yeah, so like, he is Sleeping Beauty. Not really, but the fact that he's willing to do all the work to get the girl, I mean, come on. That's a little bit more than, you know, Prince Charming did, like we just talked about.
Right.
I think for me, the only reason, like, he's like basically the first two, but an upgrade over Florian in terms of like giving him a bit of a personality, and like he's obviously in the movie a lot, but he falls for the girl like after just hearing her sing, which kind of seems to be a common theme through a lot of these princes. Just need to hear them sing and it's like over. But yeah, and he's just kind of like a hopeless romantic in that way, which is not a bad thing, but you could say common sense, like maybe not his like reasoning, not necessarily his strength. He just kind of jumps into action. But I will say that like this is one of those things that people will hurt on or will hate on Philip because of like toxic masculinity of thinking he has to like save the princess and whatever. But at the same time, like this is another situation where I don't think you can blame him for the situation the movie puts him in which he has to save. You know, he has to slay the dragon. Like, what do you suggest he does? Not slay the dragon and hope that he can find another way to win the princess in some other form of masculinity. That's not an option in this movie.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was ranking this, I specifically hid everyone else's results so that way I wouldn't be tempted to peek and see what you guys did and then fall to peer pressure. So when I put these 100s, I'm like, I am putting this stake in the ground. And I think that he is just the all-around perfect prince hunk dude. Hunkiness, I think I love his dark brown hair. He's like slender, he's athletic, he rides the horse. He's just the whole package. Like, he's just a great profile. Yes, just checks all around. Hero-ness, the whole time he's just going and doing heroic things. He's, you know, he realizes that he meets the princess and then he goes and tells his father, you know, instead of just making it like this secret thing. Like, he's very assertive. He goes and takes control of the situation. He realizes he wants to be with her, or at least, you know, make something happen with her. And then later he slays the dragon, like you said. He goes on this epic thing for this, essentially this girl he just met. So that is a true hero. And then a role model, I mean, he's just doing all the right things. And then on top of like the hunkiness, one other thing, and I know Chelsea's probably going to say this as well, he's just really funny. Like, I always think of the line, he's like, what does he say, Chelsea? He's like, this is the 14th century now. It's just,
he does.
He's just a good one.
And he's, even when he's like bantering back and forth with his horse, he's just like, no, carrots. Like, the guy has everything. Like, I like horses, so the horse is always going to get bonus points. Obviously, good kisser. Same thing as Florian in that way. But more than that, he does slay the dragon. He knows how to play the game. And even though he was even in prison for this woman, and fights his way out on his trusty steed, and everything about this prince is just everything. I just top notch all around. My fave of all time.
But see, I would say to men, don't go all in on a girl that you just met once, and risk your entire life, because it may not be the one.
You can't marry someone you just met yesterday.
But that's why I went with the
I
normal
can see
number.
that, yes. However, it is a different time. This was the 14th century. And and also, he has a valid way of knowing that she digs him too. Like, the fact is, she sang along and they kind of like snuggled up at the end. They're like, we met once upon a dream. Like, how charming is that? Like, oh, we're not strangers. We've met before. Once upon a dream. Like, dude knows how
it's super
to
charming, or it could
slay.
be super creepy, depending on who's saying it. Like,
depending on how hot you are. That is how it goes. And he has the hot value that it totally goes well, and I accept every bit of it. Like, swoon, okay? That's all you got.
All right. So with him, he has a grand total, or grand average, if you will, of 90.67. I think that's going to be a very, very hard score to beat. That's nearly perfect. So next one, we're going to the animal kingdom. We're talking about Robin Hood, which is interesting. We actually did something similar to this a few episodes ago, where we ranked the Disney dads, the hottest Disney dads specifically. And there were some animal dads in there. And so I will just say, like, when we're talking about hunkiness, it's not necessarily a physical thing. Are we physically attracted to a lion or a fox? It's more just an aura. That's a better way to put it. Like, do they have a hunky aura about them? So I'm just going to put that out there, okay? So now
engaging,
with that, go crazy, guys.
Also,
Wes, I saw you went way low on Robin Hood.
Yeah, he does nothing for me, man.
Oh, he's in your bottom 3 even. Wow.
Yeah, it's just, even looking past the whole fox thing, I mean, it's just kind of like, I don't know. No, I don't.
Okay.
I love Wes's answer. Just does nothing for me.
There becomes a point where like his cockiness is too much for me. It's his confidence has gone to the extent of cockiness, and I just can't.
Oh, see, interesting. I don't think he's definitely confident, but I think he's not necessarily cocky. So I guess it's just a perception with that. But, if I were to see, like, if he were a human, if we were to translate him into a human, would he be super hunky? I'd imagine he'd be very good looking, but not
he's
necessarily,
a fox, man.
the hottest. Fox. Yes. But yeah, just, I like his attitude, and I think just his suave, debonair way that he is with people. He's very, very chill. That, gave him a 60 for me.
I went with the suave, like, rogue charm kind of thing, and that kind of showed up on a few rankings for those kind of characters. But I also decided that I would put a max value on animals, and that was 70. So I gave Robin Hood the max animal value, though. Yeah,
I love it.
So
I did pop up and I gave him 90 because he is a fox. So there you go.
Yes. Yeah. Well, technically, you gave me 91. I love every once in a while, like, people put very, very specific numbers. Oh.
Well, no.
Oh, that's for Prince Eric. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. It was because at first I was just going by, like, instead of going by 100, I was going by 1 through 10 and then adding the 0. And then if there was a tie, then I would decide whether or not based on, like, 1, 2, 5, whatever. And in this case, I kind of ranked him and Prince Eric in similar like sets, but obviously Prince Eric, being a human, had to win out on that one, on the hunkiness. I will say though that on heroic,
that's why you gave him a 91.
Yes. On heroic and role model, I think Robin Hood, I don't think you can get much higher on him. So I gave him 100% on those.
Really?
He is, yeah. I mean, first off, he is calling out a tyrannic government and stealing.
How do I know Chelsea's going to go into this?
This is what
I know.
This is what happens,
Chelsea.
He's calling him out, and he's also he's going after the tyranny. So I can totally get behind that in heroicness. He's also super as far as like a that romantic side. Like, he met this girl when he was a kid. He's been in love with her ever since. And then as far as hero-ness, like, yeah, he fights everybody and he goes after it. And he's like, he just has this bravado that just says, no, I'm going to move forward and do it. So there we go.
Yeah, major points. Major points hero-wise for being a hero, not just to the princess that he's trying to swoon. Because, you know, that's what a lot of these guys, you know, it's like, it's easy to, like, be brave and heroic when you're trying to save your girl, you know, but, like, Robin Hood is risking his life for everyone in the community, from the kids to the friars to the, you know, widows, whatever. And the princess isn't even in danger. Like, the Maid Marian's not even really in danger, so.
It's true.
Hero points there.
Very nice.
Thank you, Perry.
Robin Hood's final score was 77.5. So right now, second place so far. Pretty darn high, but can't beat Philip quite yet. So just for all of our listeners, in case you're wanting to follow along as we are talking about this, we will include a link to our spreadsheet in the show notes, so you guys can, if you wanted to look at this as we were discussing it, you could definitely do that. Or if you'd like to do this on your own, you could definitely copy our spreadsheet and do this and do your own ranking. It'd be fun to see that as well. So with that, let's jump into Prince Eric.
I mean, if a girl's willing to give up her vocal cords just to meet you, you've probably got to be good looking. Just saying.
Yeah. He is in my top 3 as far as hunkiness.
He's a looker.
I mean, yeah, he's kind of like,
he's a looker.
Not necessarily like a surfer guy, but he's the old school version of a surfer guy. He's, you know, on a ship, if you will, and he's a sailor. Yes, you know, that's very hunky. Although he's not necessarily just ignoring responsibilities. He's a prince and he has things. And he's having his birthday party essentially on this ship. You know, nowadays it'd be, hey, I'm having this big bash on a yacht. And I just love that his birthday present is this big statue to himself. I mean, that's how great he is, at least in the eyes of his people, is you should be enshrined in this piece of granite. And he is pretty good looking. I didn't rank him the hottest for me. There are definitely others up there. But he's just overall good looking. He's not as feminine, I guess you should say, as Prince Florian. I feel like Prince Florian has like slightly feminine features. So he's a little more manly for that reason. So I gave him a 60.
As far as hero-ness, I think he did a really good job of being a hero. Like, he fought off Ursula. He knows how to wield a ship right into her gut. So, you know, that gives him something.
Yeah, those are skills you never thought would come in handy, but thankfully, a good thing he went to school and practiced.
You never know.
So, anything else on him? Wes gave him a 50 for a role model, which was the lowest. I gave him a 60, which was kind of just my way of saying, like, you're good, but you're not bad. Like, you're kind of in the middle. You do some good things, but you don't necessarily go out of your way. I mean,
to me, it was kind of an aerial ripple effect.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, bad role model by her. Am I really that proud of him for being with a girl as a bad role model? I feel like that takes down his character, too. I'm just saying.
I mean, we went on quite a bit on why Ariel's
like,
bad.
she sold out for him in not a good way, and he just kind of let it happen. I don't know.
I think Eric is like borderline a stalker, you know, like okay, so first of all, I don't think like most women, but it seems like he's like supposed to be like the biggest hunk that they can come up with, right? And then like he falls for Ariel based on the fact that she's sang, and so now he's just looking for this girl that sings like that and that looks sort of like that, I guess, I don't know. And he's willing to just like overlook the girl that happens to be the same girl that's right in front of him because she's not singing. So he's like, man, I got to go after that one girl who sang to me after she rescued me. And it's like kind of a obsession with that girl that he ends up having but doesn't realize.
But he does change his ways. Like when he's on the beach and he's looking at that flute, he throws it into the ocean, and that's that moment where he realizes, actually, what I have here is so much better than that dream girl that I've been, imagining. And so he does change, and he doesn't have a chance to approach Ariel about it, but because Vanessa comes along. But
that's a good point.
I feel like he was getting there.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think about that scene.
It only been 3 days. Come on now.
So Eric, he is just lower than Robin Hood, a 75.17. So a very fair, decent rankings. But let's talk about someone else very controversial. I feel like even growing up, this character was controversial. Was this person hot or not? And we are talking about Prince Adam, a.k.a. the Beast.
Very controversial.
All right. Yeah. So I'm looking at your guys' and he's not my favorite. I don't like Prince Adam. I don't think he's just not my style, man, I guess. I don't know. I gave him 60, which, is better than Florian at 40, but not that great. So, I mean, he passes, but he's not.
As far as our totals and averages for hunkiness only, he ties for second to last as far as that goes. So Florian, he's always going to be the bottom of the barrel when it comes to that, unfortunately. But Prince Adam is just a little bit above that. And, Prince Adam, he's attractive, but very classically attractive. I'm talking about, Roman sculptures and Greek, the Greek vision of beauty. You know what I mean? If you're looking at like a classical painting from the Renaissance, Adam fits that mold perfectly. But appealing to a modern day audience, he has the long hair, it's sort of auburn, and he's beautiful, but it's just not super hunky. I don't know what to say. And he's like ripped, he's strong. Yeah. So I gave him a 40.
Still not hunky.
It is kind of the feminine type features too, I think, that does it.
He is very intelligent though. That is a plus. He's a reader. He's a thinker.
Very much so.
But also the world has hardened him into being kind of an introverted jerk.
Yeah.
Which is not.
Rightfully so. I mean, you were this beautiful, effeminate sort of man, if you will, and you got turned to this hairy, gross beast, which is obviously the opposite of him. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they designed him, not like a Gaston, which is a stereotypical male, if you will, but, they really wanted to make it a little different from his beast form. I don't know. But nonetheless, we're not into it, clearly. Now, hero-ness, I gave him a pretty low, but he does some pretty heroic things. I probably should have given him a little higher, but he's kind of selfish. He's just all in it for him. Like you said, he's been very weathered over the years, but there is that moment where he goes and sacrifices himself for Belle, even after she just completely flees and abandons him, basically leaving him on his own. At that point, he realizes, the curse probably is gone. That was my only hope, and he still goes and saves her. So that, in theory, should have given him more heroic points in my book, but I still gave him a 40, so I don't know. A lot of us actually gave a 40 for that. There's not much to him when it comes to being a hero.
I guess percentage of the movie at which he was a hero. Yeah, it's like, you might have turned at the end, but it's like through the whole thing, you just weren't doing it.
Well, I was just thinking about the wolves scene, and I feel like I probably should have given him a few extra points for going out after she just storms out of the castle to run away and going out and saving her from the wolves. Now, granted, there's probably still a lot of selfish motives involved in that, but yeah, it came down to at the end thinking about he's not his final scene. It just feels like he's not really. I don't know. I don't feel like he's really being much of a hero except for just fighting to save himself, and then Belle comes back and he does fight for her. I guess a little bit that recharges him to really go to the finish, I guess, and then die, but I don't know.
So what about role model? I gave him a very low score, one of the lowest. No one gave anyone zeros, at least that I can tell. Oh, Chelsea did. Chelsea gave Florian a 0 for being a role model. Wow. Okay. Man,
what did he do?
None of us like that guy.
He didn't do anything.
He saved her. I mean, Like, we already talked about him. Okay.
He could have not come.
Yeah, exactly. You could have at least given him a 5.
I have plenty of options.
So I gave Adam a 10 for being a role model just because he has this temper. He's very selfish. There's a few moments where he does kind of go out of that way. And it's really the moments when he gets outside of the castle, if you notice. When he goes to save her from the wolves, when he, goes outside of the castle, literally on the roof. But nonetheless, I would not want my children or anyone to really emulate this guy, so I gave him pretty low score.
Yeah, he's there in those areas. Belle runs the movie. Let's be real. If you haven't, go back and listen to the episode on our podcast, and you'll find out she was very high on our list. And not surprisingly, Adam is
not.
Yes, not. He gets a 45.42. All right, next up, Aladdin. Ooh, I'm so excited to talk about Aladdin.
Me too.
Hunkiness. He's pretty darn hot. He is very hunky to me.
He's exotic.
I just love everything about Aladdin. He's always been one of my top princes.
He does have a good je ne sais quoi to him. He's outgoing. He knows kind of what he wants. He's got dreams, goals, aspirations, hunkiness. He's got the street smarts. So that does help out. I didn't put him in my top 3 as far as hunky, but he is up there.
Oh, I definitely did. He's got the tan. Yeah. He's got the hair. He's got the confidence to wear the open chest vest. I mean, come on.
Is it the confidence, or is it that is the literal only article of clothing that he owns?
Hey, if you got it, flaunt
it. Used to be a shirt, actually.
Yeah, I put him pretty high on that. Partially. Oh yeah, Aladdin's one of my absolute favorite Disney characters. So. The roguish charm, the roguish boy charm,
So what about for being a hero? We all put him pretty high for being a hero.
Yeah.
92, 90, 95, 80. I mean, when I'm thinking of what he does.
Out of all of them, you were the lowest on hero-ness.
Right, but I don't consider 80 to be low. That's
of course
pretty high for me. I mean, for a hero, there's a lot of things that he does that's pretty, selfish, but that's kind of going into the role model. But, he goes, he saves the princess, he saves Agrabah multiple times, after he gets sent to the, Arctic or wherever he gets golfed away to. He comes back and he's really doing the right thing multiple times. Now, I don't know why I chose an 80 versus 100. I feel like maybe there could have been a little bit more there as far as things that he could have done, but pretty solid hero in my book.
Decent score, yeah. So he got a grand total average of 83.58. So good, solid score.
Very high. Yeah.
I put him as 100 on role model, mainly because I know people will be like, oh, he's a criminal, whatever. And it's like, yes, he is, but he is he's the kind of person that goes on a big character arc, and by the end he has gone through a lot of growth. And also even at the beginning you can see he has one of the really kind hearts, and he's quite humble, even though he tries to put on the facade that he's some prince. You can tell that that's a facade because he's not confident with himself. He's got some very, very relatable flaws in the way he deals with them and kind of gains confidence in himself and grows to the end of the movie. I think great role model.
Yeah, looking at mine, I probably should have ranked him a little higher for role model. I put him at a 50, and I think I was kind of looking at it through one lens. He's very manipulative all the time. He's able to manipulate the genie. He's able to manipulate people in the marketplace. He's able to manipulate basically everyone he meets. That's one of his superpowers, and I think I was just really honed in on that. But I really like what you said, that he goes on this really great arc, which is the reason it's my favorite Disney movie, is just the growth that he experiences. So I think if I would have given him a little higher, he could have been a very, very contender for our top one. But alas, once it's on the spreadsheet, it's locked in. You can't change it.
Can't change it.
Peer pressure.
And his arc continues even into his sequels, which the second is the worst Disney movie ever, probably. But the third is pretty decent, and you can tell he's a man that's got his priorities straight. Even though the wedding's right there, he's like, I'm gonna go try to find my father. And,
so break into song. Our wedding can wait.
Underrated song. People don't know that song.
No, yeah. Okay, for the next one, we're going back to the animal kingdom. Simba. Simba is hunkiness. So for me, I rated Mufasa as more hunky than Simba. So, Mufasa he is the quintessential king, and so he's got the hunky vibe. Simba is more of a boyish vibe, and so he's not quite the hunky style that I would have liked, but he's still got some good things going. I gave him 80 on that side. And Hero, solid 80, and then Role Model 70. So he's a good, solid guy.
Yeah, I know but it's not just because they're an animal, but I couldn't get past the whole cat thing. And so he got a 30.
That's fair. That is fair.
That's fair. There you go.
It's like, whose line is it anyway? Ultimately, at the end of the day, the points don't matter, and it's just our own opinion.
Exactly.
But I totally can see that. We're trying to force you to rank how hot or hunky an animal was, and you're like, nope.
I was talking to my roommate about it last night, actually, because he was like, you gave Simba a 30? Come on. And I was like, dude, it's a cat. I can't get over it. And he's like, you're telling me you didn't have a crush on Nala growing up? And I said, no, not even close.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I love it.
Yeah, me neither. I put him pretty high as far as the animals go. But you
had your threshold of 70.
I got my threshold. That's right. I put him pretty high for the other categories though. Yeah, so kind of standard but good. Like nothing that jumped out at me in those areas.
Yeah, for Role Model, I did put him as a 40, just simply because he does have some major childhood not drama, but yes, drama too, but trauma that causes him to flee and basically shirk his responsibilities. And then he comes of age and he probably should come back, and he's still kind of living that life, And so for that reason, Role Model, I put him down. But the thing is, I'm taking like individual points in their journey, not necessarily their whole arc, because obviously at the end he comes back, he saves the day, he takes on the mantle of king. So I guess I looked at it as if you had human moments in your arc. I knocked you down for that, but
no, I think it's more of like the average time spent on the movie. What level is he at? And throughout the movie, yes, he does make those changes at the very end, but the standard of where he was prior to that was at this level,
Yeah. So he gets a 65.83. All right, we are basically halfway done. We are definitely in the 90s at this point. Let's talk about John Smith. John Smith. I mean, they drew him essentially to be hunky.
He's in my lowest 3.
Really?
Yeah. And as a total average, he across the board, he was in my bottom 3.
Kind of the worst.
Yeah, he kind of is. He just hunkiness. Yeah, he does have good features, and there's the moment where he's at the. I picture the moment where he's at the rocks and turns around and sees Pocahontas,
yes.
and they both kind of face each other, and it's I can see why she would be like, dude, this guy's a hunk. I can see that for sure. So as far as hunkiness, I do give him above average. As far as hero-ness, I don't think so. He's just too naive and too self-centered to really deserve much more than he doesn't cross the 50 for me. So he's below average as far as hero and role model.
See, I would argue that he proves selflessness by saving 2 different people. He sacrifices himself for Thomas, who shoots Kocoum, and he takes the blame for it. And then he sacrifices himself for Powhatan at the end, jumping in front of the was it a bullet or an arrow? I forget. I think bullet.
It's probably just the fact that I never really liked this movie.
It's not a great movie. It's not.
I just think if a girl has to tell you think you own whatever land you land on, then that's not great, and you probably have some work to do.
Okay, that's true, but he undergoes that work a little bit. Does he really have
that vibe, or is she speaking just higher level? I never really got that. That's
a mercenary.
The villain is acting like that, but he's kind of just exploring. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
He's just a hired hand that happens to be voiced by Mel Gibson, which happened to pop him up about 15 points on the hunkiness scale for me.
The voices, we haven't talked about the voices either. You're right.
That does add hunkiness in my book. So.
Yeah, I think, what is it, Brad Kane, I think is his name, that is Aladdin. That adds to his as well.
No, yeah, Brad Kane is his singing voice.
I have strong Full House vibes with that.
Steve from Full House is Aladdin's voice.
Stop.
Steve,
No
starts
way.
with a W. Yeah, the boyfriend.
You didn't know this, Wes?
No.
Yes.
Oh, he's
and
gorgeous.
You will never be able to watch it now.
It's okay, Wes. You already gave him a 90.
Yeah,
so.
I did. Yeah, he got a good score anyway.
Okay, so John
Phoebus.
Smith, 56.67. Now, going into Captain Phoebus, for hunkiness for him, really John Smith and Phoebus are kind of similar, cut out of the same cloth. But I put Phoebus down at a 60 because of the facial hair. That is always kind of a no-go for me, or it's going to, put you down a few notches. So he's an attractive man, but I'm like, you would be so much hotter if you just got a razor and shave that off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see him as being like super hunky to me. Hero-ness, he does like go out of his norm of what would be expected, especially for the time, especially against the powers that be. I mean, I guess I give him more for role model in that sense, but at the same time, he also is a little bit more in his own little world. I don't see him as being as the hero of the story,
He's not. He does a few heroic things here and there, but when you think of who saves the day, it's definitely not him.
Right.
Agreed. He's what it would look like if Kristoff and John Smith had a baby.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, so we ranked him just kind of average all along the way. He's anywhere from like 50s to 70s on average, and so his average is just actually a little bit higher than John Smith, 58.17. So I feel like anyone who kind of is in these 50s, 60s range, it's just you're the top of the bell curve. You're right center in the middle. They're not
top
too
of the
offensive,
bottom,
not too...
Bottom of the top, cream of the crop.
Now, let's talk about someone who... Well, definitely we all have opinions on, and this person's job title is hero, is Hercules. And because his whole goal is to be a hero, clearly he did it quite well, because we ranked him a 100 for hero-ness all across the board.
Zero to hero, man.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't argue when the whole point of the movie is like how he can become the biggest hero, and then he like succeeds, and it's like, so who am I to say you're not a hero?
And he does it multiple times. We don't see just one event where he's saving someone. He saves Megara. He saves the kids from the boulder, and then he does the 14 trials. Hercules does 14 trials. during Zero to Hero, he's saving Megara at the end. He's giving up his godhood. What else is there? Everything he is just embodies a hero.
He's literally the only prince-ish type character that is a superhero. I mean,
right?
He is working with a little more here.
Yeah. So what about his looks, hunkiness?
Well, he's literally a Greek god.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I thought he was a good-looking dude, but I didn't see...
Is it the red hair, Chelsea?
No,
As my mom says, my mom is a redhead, and she has all redheaded siblings, like 7 of them, and her classic quote that she always says is, and I'm sorry if anyone is a redhead listening to this is all in good fun from a fellow redhead. She says, no one grows up thinking, I want to marry a redheaded man. Oh, no. I'm like, oh man, Mom, that's harsh. But there are some very, very, very attractive redheads, I will say.
There are, for sure. So it has nothing to do with that. It's just, I guess maybe it's just the art design. Like, it's very,
The swirly nipples?
The swirly, it wasn't really my thing. But everything else, 100.
Yeah, he fits the criteria, The criteria is almost made for him, so that's kind of why I rated him the way I did, which was 95, 100, and 92.
Yeah, you gave him your highest out of everybody. You gave him a 95 for hunkiness, 100 for hero-ness, and 92 for role model. He is just top for you, which all of us basically. He's in our top part. I think he's incredibly hunky. I think he's great. He's totally a hero. And as far as a role model, he's doing this kid is just your perfect child. He really does nothing wrong. He's sweet. He's kind. He's nice. He doesn't really have like a temper. He just hey, this is what I need to do. So he he goes to school and he does it, he puts in the work, he puts in the hours, he trains hard. As a result, he gets a good job. He's excellent at his job. It's just, if this was your child, this is who you want, because he can literally do no wrong. And that's probably because he's part God.
I think his biggest and probably only like role model flaw is like that he's just super naive too. So, but other than that, like, I mean, you can't fault him too much for like believing the best in everyone, I guess, even when he has no reason to.
All right, so he came in at 92.33. Someone has taken Philip off the top spot. Let's see if anyone else can do it. Now, coming up next, Tarzan, who's very attractive, I might say. I put him at an 80.
I gave him an 80 as well. Like, I thought Tarzan was a very attractive dude. He's got the rippling, Hercules had the
dreads,
rippling pectorals, but he does have pectorals as well, and the dreads, and he's got the skater vibe. Does a cool thing. He's just got vibe. The alternative, I'm doing my own thing over here in the side kind of vibe, and I like it, and it goes high. It's not as high as like my standards, but it's a high on the list.
Don't forget about that jawline that can cut through your heart.
That is true.
It already did.
That is true.
Yeah. And he doesn't wear a shirt the whole time. So
at the very end, he does put on a shirt.
He's really just,
but he takes it off pretty quickly.
The ladies in the test screening said, "Nope, cut that."
Yeah, Tarzan is good, but not like I don't feel like he stands out in any particular area for me.
Yeah, you actually ranked him pretty low for being a role model. You gave him a 40, while the rest of us gave him 70, 80, 90. So what gives?
Yeah, I just felt like
what's up with that?
His like heart is good, but like how he's basically like an ape. So like how would I be like, hey, you should try to be more like this guy? So it's like in some ways sure, but in other ways it's like, okay, you got to be a human. Like this is you don't have the opportunity to be ape like your whole life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he has pretty decent scores for me, but if I'm thinking who's high on my list, he's kind of in the middle, so he ranks 72.25, and I don't think we really have much else to say about him. He does some pretty heroic things. He's a decent-ish role model, but as far as the others, there's other ones that stand out. So now I really want to talk about Li Shang from Mulan.
Li Shang is a piece, let me tell you. I did only give him an 85, but he is a piece.
No, he's very, very attractive.
He is high up on my list.
Yeah, when I was ranking the hottest Disney dads, unfortunately, Mulan's dad did not cut it for me. But if I were to do another list where I was simply ranking the Disney princes, he would come up. Yeah, he just has a lot going for him. He's military. He's doing his duty to his country and to his family. And he just is very physically appealing, I guess, like his face and his features. So
I think what I like most about Li Shang is how he is military, but he's like that leader in the military but he's also willing and able to not be I am the leader, listen to me all the time. He definitely has moments of that, but it's not in his personality to be that way. It's maybe just like, I don't know how else to do it.
Yeah, for being a role model, he's given this really crappy, what's the term? He's given a really bad hand.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on, guys. Let's put our minds together and think of what this analogy is. No. Yeah, he's dealt a bad hand. There we go. We did it.
There you go.
He's dealt a very bad hand when it comes to these just misfits that he's supposed to recruit, and he doesn't even bat an eye. He says, okay, this is what I've been given, and he goes to work training them and building them up to what they need to be, and he builds the unit that saves China. And I think that's a great role model, taking the hand that you've been dealt and doing really, really great things with it.
Yeah, I'd agree that, and I also like that he can see past what Mulan has done that is like not accepted by their culture, but he can see past it and see her heart and intention behind it and the hero that she is. I think he shows a lot of integrity throughout the movie. He maybe doesn't do a ton himself in being a hero, but it's not his movie. So,
all right. So this one is kind of one of those extra ones that we couldn't help but put in. This is Prince Edward from Enchanted, but the animated portion of him.
Oh, okay.
So he only gets like 5 minutes, but he's still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I saw that where you said animated right in front of it, but I kind of took into account him as a whole. But that's fine. That's fine.
I do take.
He's very.
I mean, we can take the whole because James Marsden is one handsome man as well. So throw that in there.
It's funny. They don't really go out of their way to design an unattractive lead,
right?
You know what I mean? Unless it's Quasimodo, they don't just say like, yeah, he's a mad character. Some of them end up being that way, but yeah, he's very good looking. He has, the chiseled jaw like everyone else. So, but for the same reason, he just kind of feels like everyone else. So he's a 70 for me. So 70 is kind of more of my middle. He's very good looking. I like him. He has those incredibly puffy sleeves, which was a it's a great costume.
Definitely a statement. I liked him in his. Well, if you're looking at his like animated side, I saw him as being a lot more within his own. Played his part well for what he was in his animated side. So that's why when he goes into like the real world, he's a little bit more of a bumbling buffoon. So that's kind of why I like looked at it in the animated. So I definitely gave him a lot higher than all of you. I gave him an average of 83 across the board, and everyone else is like 61, 57, 43, Morgan. So obviously but I maybe it's also because I look at James Marsden and I'm thinking also The Notebook too, and like he was a handsome man there as well. He's a handsome man.
Yeah, I rated him pretty low for hero-ness and role model. Both gave him 30s just because he's really kind of oblivious, as a hero. He's like, we'll be married in the morning. Like, he's just kind of narcissistic in that way. And so I wasn't really a fan of him. He does try to do the right thing to go save her. But like Chelsea said, he's kind of out of his element throughout the entire movie and just, he's more of a punchline and a gag versus someone who's actually doing something. And that's not really his fault, but maybe it is. So we gave any other thoughts on Prince Edward?
I remember very little about him, so I gave him pretty standard bleh numbers.
Right. He gets a 61.67 total. Now let's hop over to someone who's definitely the new hotness, Prince Naveen.
I'm alone in this, but he was in my top 3 of hotness. The man looks good, but he was also in my bottom for hero-ness and role model. I mean, basically, he's just eye candy for me, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, hero-ness, not great, but like you said, he's an attractive man. He's got the tan going. Also, I mean, call me crazy, but the name Naveen, it's a bit of an attractive name. I'm just gonna say it.
I
so
agree.
That does something for you, but the fox doesn't.
Correct. Okay. Also, once again, that wallet. I'm just saying.
His wallet's empty, Wes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, his wallet's empty.
Is it a polar thing, like the empty wallet as well as the full wallet?
I will say, of all the princes, he's going for Tiana. Like he likes her a lot, and a lot of the princes, there's like you said, Perry, like, oh, I heard her sing once, so I love her. But like he sees her for what she really is, and he likes her a lot, and that adds to the hunkiness, I think, or at least it should.
That's a good point. I like that point.
I kind of want to up his role model score now, just because of that.
He looked better as a frog, maybe.
No,
but
definitely not.
I'm just kidding.
No.
Talking about a jawline. That one, yeah, Naveen's
and a haircut. He's got a great hair. Just the whole physique, everything about him, and just like he's got this cool swag, like swagger, I guess you could say. I really like Prince Naveen.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
Mm-hmm.
He still has a long way to go in terms of role model by the end of the movie, but he does move. He does grow for sure.
But once again, not his movie. Like
it's true.
Tiana, fantastic role model. She carries that for him.
Yeah, I feel like I gave him just like I did with Prince Edward, not that great of marks for being a hero and for role model. I gave him a 30 and a 20 for being a role model. I feel like, at the beginning of the movie, he's just very much just living his life and being the Bachelor, doing everything that he's doing. But he doesn't really go out of his way to do much. At least from what I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I just don't remember him ever saving the day or doing anything. He does grow, but he's not someone that I would necessarily want to emulate. So I brought down the average, unfortunately. So he's at 56.
All right, now we have Flynn Rider, or Prince Consort, Eugene Fitzherbert. Okay, guys, how's the hunkiness on this one?
We bragged on him. It looked like
it's there. It's there.
he is 100 on mine. I mean, come on. The smolder? Are you kidding me?
Here comes the smolder.
The middle part. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah. Don't tell my girlfriend, but.
There you go.
The men rated him higher than the women this time around. And I don't know what I was thinking. I gave him an 80. He definitely should have been a 90. I don't know what I was doing. But the behind-the-scenes story for this is that designing Flynn Rider, they really wanted him to be just this epitome of a hot guy. So they got all these photos of all these actors and models and everyone, and they brought all the women in from the studio and had them vote, basically put little markers on like, yes, this nose, this chin, this jaw, and they created this Frankenstein of a perfect man. And he is so good. I totally forgot about the smolder. Man, I really wish I would have put him at 90.
Just can't get my nose.
Can I change it? Can I change it?
I'll let you. Yeah, you can change it. That might change the whole thing.
I'm breaking the rules. We'll see where he goes up.
Not much.
He was already at the number one hunkiness only spot.
Oh, that's right.
Down there. But
guys, I love Flynn Rider. Quantitatively, he was not in my top 3 for the total score. But if you look at the diagram or graph or whatever you want to call it, I highlighted it in yellow because he is my favorite, and I needed him to get his due credit.
Okay.
Because quantitatively, on our scale, he was not the best, but qualitatively, in my heart, he is miles ahead of everyone else.
Okay.
The bad boy rogue charm, and the character arc, just I definitely like the characters more and like give a little bonus more to the characters who go on some kind of transformative journey rather than the ones that just kind of exist and are the same the whole time. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't give him a very good score on hero-ness or role model.
That's fair.
But he did get a hunkiness score that is, one to be proud of. So.
Yeah, for his 94.75 hunkiness only score, he only averaged out to 69.5 total.
Ooh, yeah. 69.5. Okay, and our last one on the list is Kristoff from Frozen and Frozen 2. So hunkiness. He's a bit more of a burly guy. He's more broad shoulders. He's not as like thin and petite as some of these other guys. Not petite's not the right word, but some are more like slender build, but still strong, like Tarzan, and others are just beasts, literally. So, what about Kristoff? What would you rank him on hotness?
I gave him an 80.
I gave him like a 70.
Yeah. I mean, he's a working man. He works hard. He brings home the money. I think that's great. Also, I think you can tell a lot about the character of a person by how animals react to him. And him and Sven have an incredible relationship. So I think that speaks volumes.
That is true. Yeah, he's just like an all-around good guy. I gave him a 50. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's a little low, but I'm not going to change it at this point. I had one change, and I did that for Flynn Rider. But he has the blonde hair. He's burly. I like what you said. He's a working man. I could imagine him being in a brawny ad, wearing a plaid shirt and carrying a pickaxe.
Yeah.
So what about for hero-ness and role model? I think for role model, I mean, he really is kind of selfless in the fact that he meets this girl and he takes her on this quest when he really didn't have to. And I think that's very admirable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's not hero-wise, he doesn't do a lot in the main plots of the movie. But I think to Anna, he's her hero because of the way he treats her. And yeah, you can just tell, especially in Frozen 2, that they were going for a very different vibe with him as asking her what he can, how he can be there to help her and, letting her know that he's there no matter what kind of thing, even though she was very inconsistent up and down throughout the movie because of what she was dealing with. So I give him a pretty high role model score. His hero score, not super high, but he's a hero to Anna, so I'm sure that's all that matters.
I think
in their hearts.
I think if we were to put an asterisk next to his hero score, it would be like a clutch hero score, because he's there when he needs to be, but he's not.
Clutch gene.
He's not supposed to be the hero. You know what I mean? But he is when he needs to be.
Clutch.
Like, he doesn't save anybody in the movie. Like, the plot's resolving. He doesn't really have anything to do with the plot resolving, but
he's always there.
But he's there.
Yeah, and he also has like a good solid head on his shoulders as far as like, okay, here's logic. Let's
he's
bring
a good,
that in.
real dude.
Yeah. I mean, I still, as far as like his total score to me was like top of the bottom of the top, cream of the crap. So he doesn't go too high. Like, it's just like a 66 for my total. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like a little bit higher than normal, but not a standout fellow, I guess, in my list when ranking against others that are.
So he actually comes in at 66.5. So that is our list of heroes. Now I'm just going to rank our top, where they came, where they fell, and then we're going to talk about some honorable mentions. So let's start at the very bottom. Number 17, Prince Florian. Number 16, Prince Charming. Number 15, Prince Adam. Number 14, Prince Naveen. So apparently, literally, nearly everyone who have a formal prince title are all at the bottom. We're not fans. 13, John Smith. 12, Phoebus. Interesting. I'm surprised he's higher than John Smith, but it's okay. This is why we do the total. 11, Prince Edward. Wow. Again, this when we're talking about the middle, like these middle guys are just kind of all there. Number 10, Simba. 9, Kristoff. 8, Flynn Rider. 7, Tarzan. 6, Prince Eric. And rounding out our top 5 is Li Shang. Number 4, Robin Hood. Number 3, Aladdin. And then Prince Philip at number 2, with Hercules being number 1.
Whew,
wow.
there we go.
Prince Philip, despite having hundreds from 2 of the panelists, hundreds across the board, still did not manage to get that top spot. Hercules is our hottest prince, hero, and hunk. He is the triple threat, if you will. I mean, he is a prince in a way. He's a godly character, so he's royalty.
It counts.
So it makes sense. So wow, if you would have asked me going into this, who do you think would be the top Disney prince, gentleman, I would not have said Hercules, but it makes sense now.
It does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. For
All right.
sure.
So lastly, let's just talk about any last honorable mentions. Someone that you want to talk about. We have a giant list here of different Disney heroes that didn't necessarily make, our list for the ranking, but they're all very, very important nonetheless. Some of these other, unofficial Disney princes like Kovu, Milo from the Atlantis, not the Atlantis, just Atlantis. Yes. And do you guys have any other gentlemen you'd like to talk about?
Milo, I like Milo. He's a good dude. You also got Mr. Incredible, but that's where are we throwing in the Pixar?
Is he a dad?
On this?
Yeah,
he's a dad.
Okay, he's a
dad. Once you're
Wait,
a daddy,
so dad
you're not
disqualifies
a hunk,
him.
I guess. I mean,
that's unfortunate.
Eric is a dad.
That's true, but not in the original.
He didn't start
obviously.
out as a dad, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. But I guess at the beginning of The Incredibles, Mr. Incredible's not a dad.
That's true.
True.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so
Mr. Incredible. It's the dad bod
Incredible.
for me. I know he gets in shape later, but really it's that big beer belly. It's like, yeah, that's a low mark for you.
I'm looking at Big Hero 6 right here, and you mentioned Tadashi, and I'm like, oh yes.
Yes, I put Tadashi on there because I'm like, his whole movie, like he's only in like 10 minutes maybe, but he's just being supportive, being a really good big brother, just a kind guy. And then his last act is sacrificing himself for just anyone in particular. Well, actually, no, he does know that it's the professor. So he goes in for Professor Callahan, just it risks his life, and pretty good, example of heroicness and role model.
Yeah.
I also give him high props for hunkiness on that one too.
I'm thinking about Jim Hawkins.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Ooh.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I mean,
yes.
Incredible, wonderful.
We love Jim Hawkins and Treasure Planet on our show.
Yeah, he's great. He's a little younger than some of the others on our list, but nonetheless, a lot of potential. He does have that little rat tail, which I don't know if that would qualify on my list. That immediately probably would knock you 30 points.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, it was the 90s. I mean,
the bad boy rogue charm, man.
Oh, it's European. That was really big in like early 2000s in Europe. When I was traveling around, it was just like, oh no, why?
No way.
It was like between that and like a start of the mullet going, and I was just like, this needs to end right now.
Yeah, I felt some type of way when people were when I was reading the suggestions of like some really young children, like Dipper and Mabel, who are sure heroic in Gravity Falls, great show, but they're also like 11.
Yeah,
and so I just wouldn't be able to rank.
Yeah, back away, not today. Absolutely. This list some of our patrons were putting on there, and I don't know who put this, but Winnie the Pooh. I was like, really? As a hero?
Okay.
I just didn't even consider that. Like, but I guess. Oh, bother.
What do you guys think of Aladar?
From Dinosaur?
Dinosaur, yeah.
Oh, I mean, animals are one thing, but dinosaurs are a whole other. Let alone early 2000 CGI dinosaurs. I can't even rank you on a hotness scale because it's just like, oof.
There's an old lost clip from our show way back at the beginning of me saying that I had a thing for Nira. And I think it got cut out of whatever episode that was, but yeah, so I wanted to ask about Aladar because, could be the same thing.
You tell us.
I could definitely rank him as far as like a role model goes or hero-ness, but definitely not hugginess. It's like, no, You're not even on the list.
Not even when he uses his super manly strength to find the water in the ground.
I'm thinking about his like dinosaur call where he like,
his dinosaur call.
So hot.
Yeah, it's his mating call,
I also did like Basil of Baker Street as being a hero. And I was I can get behind that as a hero.
Very underrated movie.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if I would put him on a hotness scale. I don't like rats. So yeah, but other than that, like I see him as the hero.
I see Buzz Lightyear on here.
Awesome. Buzz, yes.
I think Buzz is a good choice.
Jack Sparrow.
Ooh, Captain Jack. Yes, he's an anti-hero, but is he a hero?
Yeah, I felt for the same...
I guess we didn't say they had to be a hero.
Yeah.
We kind of did,
for
though.
the same reason that Hercules won our list in terms of the categories, I think was the reason that Jack would have not done well, just based on the categories he doesn't really hold up.
The
eyeliner,
great. Though, normally makeup on men would not necessarily increase hotness, but his eyeliner, absolutely yes. I don't know what it is about the black coal, but he pulls it off very well for me. So, all right, guys, that's all that we have today. This was so much fun. I want to give a big thank you to Perry and Wes for joining us we had to complete the set. They did the best Disney princesses, and we are fulfilling with the best Disney princes. We will include a link in the show notes to that episode that we were on, so you can listen to that. It was a lot of fun. And of course, we'll also have a link to the spreadsheet that you can download, and you can rank it yourself to see where the Disney princes land for you. And before we go, you guys have anything else you want to say?
Not really. I mean, just thanks so much for having us.
This was a blast.
It was a lot of fun doing this show and the show over on our podcast as well. So yeah, if you guys, it seems like all your listeners enjoy Disney animation, because this is the Animation Addicts Podcast, so you'll find a lot of that over on our show as well. Feel free to check it out. But Banter, I hardly know her, but thanks so much. That was a ton of fun. Love this kind of stuff.
And before we go, make sure to check out our Instagram post for this episode and weigh in on who you think is your favorite or your hottest Disney hunk, hero, prince, all of the above. I'd love to hear that, so let us know in the comments of that post, and we will be there. And until next time,
we are the Rotoscopers.
ends up building, essentially the unit that saves Chiny. Oh my gosh. That'll be in the bloopers. Let me start again. Why did I even say that? Oh, good times podcasting. Okay.
Shiny!
Oh. You've been listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to help spread the word, be sure to share the podcast with your friends on social media. Just don't forget to tag us at Rotoscopers on Instagram and use the hashtag Animation Addicts. For all the links and full show notes for this episode, go to rotoscopers.com/podcast. Now, if you still can't get enough for your animation fix, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and visit rotoscopers.com for more animation news, reviews, and interviews. Thanks for listening.